Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup. I'm Neeraj Shah. Let's take stock of all the key newsmakers around the world and then get on to India. So, firstly, in global news, NATO is set to label China a systemic challenge. It was not done the last time something like this happened way back in 2010. This time around, there is a consideration. It's source based, of course. Keep that at the back of your mind, but it's there on Bloomberg, and therefore I thought I'll bring it for you. Oil has extended gains on supply disruptions ahead of the OPEC Plus meet, and maybe because of the Russian sanctions as well. So both of them are kind of playing on. As a result of that, the stock rally has cooled in Asia. The China stock benchmark has reached overbought zone amidst rally, and we've seen rallies across the world, in China more so, and which is why that index, which has done really well, is now in an overbought territory as well. Sri Lanka is under virtual lockdown with fuel supplies halted for private cars. What's happening in that nation is is sad because it's a beautiful country. Somehow, it's just caught in a quagmire of sorts on the economic front. But be that as it may, now. So these were the top newsmakers according to me. Remember, there is a G7 meet and some outcomes and some sound bites from there even now coming in. And over the next 2 days, there is also this GST Council meet in India. So that is something people will keep a keen eye out for. US stocks had a very good previous session, but as in Friday, but in yesterday's session, kind of cooled off. Remember, viewers, we were talking about how a lot of people are watching, and I'm not saying this is conclusive, but how a lot of people were waiting for a rally to go short again. I don't know if we've already at those levels or otherwise. Yesterday we spoke about how CK Narayan was also pointing towards some hurdles from an upside perspective. Now, I don't know if that all of that is leading to this or no, but US markets halted a rally. If you look at the key indicators from the US market front or otherwise as well, I mean, Bitcoin cooled off a little bit. 10-year yield was hovering at about 3.17, dollar index pretty flattish. But risk off mood, I mean, crude, Bitcoin coming off, crude moving higher, equities moving lower, point to that kind of a mood. And which is why I think the SGX Nifty should be indicating a start in the red, about 0.75%, if I'm not wrong, is what Virat tells me. So, yep, about 113 odd points in the red. So the markets did well yesterday. So if you look at the broader market performance was very strong, and which is why the advance decline ratio will show you that 392 advances, 204 decliners, a bunch of stocks doing very well. Route Mobile, Gujarat Ambuja Exports, Route Mobile, of course, news base of the meeting today, and Zomato corrected in trade yesterday, and some of the others like Star Health or Sapphire Foods, Sarigama had some uh, weak weak outing in trade yesterday. So what's the trade setup therefore? I think yesterday I was talking about how if there is a short covering led bounce, then metals, IT, and were banks had done their bit, and metals and IT were the ones on which short positions existed. And could there be a bit of a short covering? I reckon yesterday's move in metals and IT, which outperformed other sectoral indices, was because of a short covering move. Can it last? Don't quite know. But for now, today, because everything will be soft, so don't quite expect the same thing again today. Remember, yesterday, a bunch of thematic ideas did very well in the first half, but momentum completely faded away towards the close. I mean, even for the Nifty, started off much higher, stayed buoyant throughout the day, only to kind of come off quite significantly in the second half of trade. Markets are now trading near some important resistance levels, 15,900. Some people, technical experts, scored 15,921 or thereabouts. So that is one thing to watch out for, that we are near some key resistance levels. And stock specific trades in corp intermediates and autos could probably turn out to be winning trades, is what people tell me. So keep these at the back of your mind. What are the stocks to watch, therefore, in a session like this today? So firstly, to my mind, the stock of the day could well be Mahindra and Mahindra. Remember, it's had a very strong rally already, but it's announced the all-new Scorpio and SUV, which is at a starting price of 11.99 lakhs. Now, the key is, viewers, this may not seem like that big an announcement, but every brokerage, every single brokerage, and every single analyst is very constructive on Mahindra and Mahindra as a result of this launch as well. Now, I read at least 5 notes. Out of that, I thought the Nomura note made some very pertinent points. I'm bringing that to you. It's saying a buy with the target price of 1308. They say this one is another potential winner. They believe that the new Scorpio could further support to transform M&M's image into that of a lifestyle SUV maker, which might actually pay rich dividends in the future. It has got the potential to incrementally add 10 to 15% upside to the overall FY23-24 UV volumes. And the key point, which I thought was the last point that they're making, which I'm bringing to you, is that they're saying that this will further aid M&M's UV market share, which had reached 17% in May after being at an average of 13 to 14% in FY22. They've already expanded market share in the first 2 months on the SUV, utility vehicle, whatever you call it, that segment. And that is paying rich dividends. We know that India is kind of moving towards a country wherein people love owning an SUV or a utility vehicle, large families, or just the thrill of driving because roads are better, what have you. But everybody is constructive on Mahindra and Mahindra. So maybe even on a dull day like this, M&M could be the stock to watch. But I just urge you, keep in mind it's had a decent enough rally behind it already. What I mean is in the recent past. Brigade Enterprises, they've signed a joint development agreement to develop about 21 lakh square feet residential apartments in Chennai. It aims to earn about 6,000 crores over the next 5 years in revenue from the Chennai residential business. Keep in mind, so let's assume this means about 1,200 crores is what they believe they'll earn annually, if indeed everything goes well. But that's a large number if they manage to be successful here, because their annual revenue, at least FY22, was 3,000 crores. And I'm sure real estate had such a good run in the recent past that this could probably have been the highest revenues the Brigade might have earned. So what we're talking about is incrementally an annual addition of about 40% to its FY22 revenues if Brigade's estimates turn out to be correct. Could be interesting. So, well, I don't know if Brigade reacts or not, but if it reacts, you know why it is reacting. Star Health, that company, and IDFC First Bank have essentially announced a bank assurance tie-up. That's the long and short of this announcement. And it could be interesting. Star has actually been a stock that's been a dog of a stock, so to say. It's really corrected. A lot of other insurance plays, including LIC, so everything under insurance, whether medical or health, has not quite had a really good run in the recent past. But could this give a bit of a fillip to Star Health? Who knows? Maybe it could. Now, MK came out with a note on Star Health, not after this announcement, but in general, yesterday. They've taken the company on some road shows, and they are maintaining a buy with a target price of 945, which is significantly higher than the current market price. They say it remains an attractive and profitable growth story. A possible entry of life insurers into health indemnity would only mean a little extra competition and nothing more. Now, I have my reservations around this assessment by the MK analyst, because I don't think this means only a little extra competition and nothing more. I think it could mean into significant extra competition, to be very honest. But let's wait and watch. They are saying that the 1 or 2 quarters of profitable growth delivery will likely lead to a material outperformance of Star Health shares, and the recent steep fall in the share prices provides an attractive entry point. So, well, keep this at the back of your mind. I don't know if Star Health reacts on the back of this one tie-up. Again, it's not an HDFC Bank or an ICICI Bank per se. It's IDFC First, good bank, but nowhere in the leagues of the large ones with the kind of accounts that it has. But it may give a bit of a fillip. So, in case Star Health reacts, you know why it is doing that. Paras Defense has signed, NSIL has signed a letter of intent for transfer of technology for optical imaging systems to the company. It's making some of the right noises, but somehow post-listing, the fanfare around Paras Defense has come off quite materially. The other defense stocks actually have done very well. Some of the PSU defense stocks have done very well. But Paras Defense has kind of lagged performance, if I'm not wrong, compared to some of its other peers. So, that's the thing to keep in mind. There is there are queries around gold loan companies. Well, viewers, I don't have a particular view on companies ever, but keep in mind that through all the gyrations that have happened in the lending space, if you just plot a multi-year chart of some of these companies, you will see that they have done reasonably well on most counts, come out of all adversities pretty strongly, and therefore done well over a longer time frame. And that's what some of the experts who join me at times, I'm able to ask them about gold loan companies particularly, they kind of remain constructive over the very long term. So That's the long and short of it from a trading perspective. Sorry, I anyways don't have a view, but on a trading perspective, even if I had a view, I would not be able to give. And I don't frankly have a trading view on any of these companies, or for that matter, on any company per se. Um, Promoter buying has been seen in some of these stocks over the last 3-4 days. KNR Construction, Nuvoco, Vijaya Diagnostics, and VIP. Do watch out for some of these. Annual general meetings today for companies like Tata Steel, Britannia, Seat, and Devyani International. And lastly, viewers, what stood out for me, this is a report that came out maybe a day and a half ago. And the comments from the BASF CEO came out last week, but I'm still bringing it to you because I thought it was very important. Crops and intermediates have started to show some weakness. So international crop prices registered significant dents in important pockets. Wheat prices, vegetable oil prices, and cotton have all corrected. In fact, cotton, and I put out a tweet as well, cotton has seen the worst drought in a decade from the recent top. And fertilizer prices too have revealed some weakness, with US prices of ammonia, DAP, and urea have all corrected double digits in the past month. It's not quite happened in India. But the point I'm trying to make is that finally the higher prices are probably beginning to take a toll on demand. And as a result of which, we've seen significant weakness in some of these prices. Now, for all the related businesses, it may be bad news. From an inflation perspective, it could actually be pretty good news. So that's the point that you have to keep in mind. Yeah, this is the chart that I was talking about how cotton prices have actually seen one of the worst falls in a really long time. And substitute this with the comments that BASF's global CEO Martin Brudermüller had to make. He says that considerable downturn early in the second half of the year is expected because inflation will begin to weigh on consumer demand, and competitors are expected to reinstate crippled supply chains. Well, I must tell you, I don't know how it augurs for some of the companies in this business, but it's great news for every consumer, simply because you want the crippled supply chains to be augmented any which ways, and you want some of these fly high prices to get reined in a little bit, because it's just that good for a consumer. And maybe it's that good for inflation. And if inflation is a big bogey, if that turns around, you might have a turnaround in sentiment for risk assets as well. Let's wait and watch if that were to happen definitively. For now, there's a bit of a hope attached to this. Remember, crude is again reared its early head again, and coal prices have actually been on a roll as well. So energy somehow is not giving up, even if some of the others are. Keep that at the back of your mind. Stay safe. If you're stepping out, maybe stay masked up, because COVID cases are moving up higher. Multiple people around me have gotten it as well. So I'm being careful. You can choose to be careful. It's not fatal anymore, hopefully. But yeah, it is certainly a task to stay for about 5-6 days in a quarantine. So for that purpose alone, maybe stay masked up as well. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Have a great day.